Hello, 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 bougie healed divas. And this is another episode that is within the 3D, 5D series. It is all about the rapture, the Hopi Prophecy, and 3D, 5D Ascension. I cannot wait for this episode. It is so good. It is so good. Get your glass of wine, your kombucha, your drink, whatever your favorite beverage is. Sit back and just really receive this transmission because it is unlike you've ever heard. All right. So there are way too many people out there acting like we are in some kind of biblical apocalyptic movie. The earthquakes, the fires, the political chaos, the mass awakenings, the freak weather patterns. People are looking around and like, is this the rapture? Did I miss the trumpet? Did they leave me behind? And baby, let's get real. We are in a shift. It's a massive historical reality bending shift. But let me tell you what it is not. It is not the end of the world. It is not some doomsday event. It's definitely not what Christian nationalists think it is. Because listen, there's a huge difference between the rapture, the Hopi principle, and other indigenous wisdom, and 3D, 5D ascension. There's a through line in all of it, but the rapture is very different from the Hopi principle and the 3D, 5D ascension. And today we're going to break down each and every one of them so you can understand what's real and what's fear-based control. And then see how ancient wisdom already predicted this moment so that you can know what to do as a spiritual entrepreneur, a light leader, and an ascension anchor. Most importantly, diva, you do not need to be afraid because fear is the biggest weapon of control. So let's first break down the rapture, like how the church borrowed, stole ancient text and spun it into fear. So let's talk about the rapture. If you grew up in a religious household, I did, you probably heard something like this. One day Jesus is going to appear in the sky and the true believers are going to be whisked up to heaven. And the rest of y'all going to be left behind to suffer in chaos. Then comes the Antichrist, the mark of the beast, the 7 years of hell on earth. Sound familiar? Yes. So let's break this down because the entire idea was not even originally a part of Christianity. Revelation, the book that inspires this entire thing, wasn't even written until the late 1st century. And guess what? It heavily borrowed from Jewish and even Babylonian principles and prophecies that established way, way, way before. The whole concept of a divine separation and people moving to a higher place while others had to suffer can be found in many, many cultures. But here's what the truth is, the real deal, Holyfield, the flip-flop slap, you know me. The rapture wasn't even mainstream Christian belief until the 1800s. There was a man named John Nelson Darby who popularized it and spread it like wildfire in Western evangelical circles. And today, I'm going to talk about this later in the podcast, but Christian nationalists are literally trying to force it into reality. But before we go there, let's talk about the Hopi principle, the Hopi prophecy, the ancient wisdom, and how much they got right. The Hopi prophecy is unlike the fear-based Christian rapture prophecy. The Hopi elders had completely different takes on what is happening right now. They weren't out there preaching about some angry God in the sky that's going to snatch certain people up and leave other people behind. The Hopi were the keepers of deep wisdom, passed down for generation after generation. And this was like a warning, a guide. I want to say not even a warning, it was a guide and a choice for humanity. Now, as we look around at what's happening right now, at the time of this recording, it is so eerily clear that this prophecy is unfolding before our eyes. So let's break it down. Who are the Hopi? Or Hopi? If I'm saying it wrong, please forgive me. The Hopi people are one of the oldest continuously inhabited cultures in North America. Their name translates to peaceful people. And for centuries, they have served as guardians of sacred knowledge about Earth's cycles, cosmic shifts, and humanity's future. Now, unlike many civilizations that were wiped out or assimilated, the Hopi people have maintained their traditions and oral histories and prophetic visions of what's to come. And so what's most profound about their teachings is that we are living in a time that they called the Great Purification. The moment where humanity gets to choose a path. What does that sound like? 3D, 5D? Hello. Okay. So the Hopi Prophecy was an ancient warning given to people long before Western civilization even existed, before we even knew that was coming. It speaks of a time where humanity would reach a split in the road. It is the moment that we would be forced to choose between two realities. Path one was a path of fear, control, and destruction. Third density. Path two is the path of love, unity, and higher consciousness. 50. They warned that those who clung to power, greed, and fear would face turmoil, suffering, and collapse. While those who chose harmony, connection, expansion would transition into a new earth reality. Come on, y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Does this sound familiar? Now, because this is exactly what is playing out right now. This isn't about a people disappearing into the sky, right? It's about people separating by frequency. It's a world where some experience absolute chaos, while others experience magic and expansion right here, right now. But let me give you a little bit more detail so you can be like, what? Now, this is where things get really wild. One of the Hopi prophecies directly speaks to a time when a leader with a red hat would rise. According to the prophecy, there would come a time when a false leader would appear wearing a red hat. The leader would bring deception, division, and destruction. And many would blindly follow, believing he was sent to save them. Now, y'all, look, I don't even have to say it, but you already know this sounds like Felon 45 and the Red Hat crew. Political cultists who literally worship a man who thrives on control, chaos, and destruction. The ones who will tear the country apart just to own the libs while pretending to be the chosen ones. And the scariest part is that they want to bring about destruction because they think it's going to trigger the biblical prophecy and force Jesus to return. Literally, they believe that if the world gets bad enough, they'll be raptured out of here and the rest of us will suffer. There's a young lady, she was formerly a part of Christian nationalism, and I'm going to break it down a little bit further, but she said that they specifically believe that the white race, which there's no such thing as a white race, but let's just say European descendants, are only the only descendants that were created in God's image, and that Jesus is only talking about rapturing them. And so, if they create enough chaos and enough people are in turmoil and death and destruction, that it will come and rapture them up. Just keep this in mind when you're seeing all the craziness that's happening. And remember, love wins all. And anything that smells fishy is fishy. Anything that doesn't smell right isn't right. So, you might say, well, these Hopi people, the Hopi people, like, are they any good? Well, guess what? I'm going to read some of the things that they saw coming. Okay? So, these are specific words. The time will come when the earth will rise in a mystic fall, which will dilute the minds and the hearts of all living things. A great purification will come when the white brother returns, and people must decide their path. We have taught that the world will go through changes and there will be a purification, and that this purification will bring a new way of life. And in the final days, we will look to the leaders who wear the red hat, and they will deceive many. This prophecy warned that if humanity fell under the rule of the false leader and chose the path of control, division, and hatred, it would suffer greatly. Wars would break out, the earth would shake, waters would rise, and skies would darken. People would turn on each other, blinded by the deception. Hello. But the prophecy also says something else. It says that not everyone is going to fall for this illusion, and the true ones, all of you listening to this podcast, will awaken. The Hopi called them the rainbow warriors. We call them Lightworkers. Those who remember their divine purpose, their inner divinity, and who hold the light and will help lead others to the new earth. Do you see? It's not death and destruction. So these prophecies go back thousands and thousands of years, long before modern civilization. But specific warnings about our time were recorded and shared in the world early 20th century. And as the world entered into a global war, genocide, and mass destruction, many saw how the prophecies was unfolding. The swastika symbol was in this prophecy before Mustache Man used it. One of the prophecies that's the most shocking element was the mention of the swastika. It said that the swastika, an ancient symbol, will be that was an ancient symbol long before Mustache Man and his people used it. But they warned of a dark force that would rise under this sign and attempt to dominate the world. And what happened? World War II, the rise of Mustache Man, and the Holocaust. It was all there. It literally predicted Hitler. It literally predicted World War II. It literally predicted the twisted use of the swastika. It spoke of a deceptive, another wave, a red symbol, a shawl, or a hat, and a final war before the great purification. The prophecy did not stop there. They spoke about this prophecy multiple times, most famously in 2000 and 2012. They said a time will come when the earth will rise in the mystic fall, right? And dilute the hearts of many. And if that does not sound like the mass delusion that we are witnessing, I don't know what does. What does this mean for you right now? The prophecy isn't about doom and gloom. You get to see it. The rainbow warriors are here to anchor in the light. The Hopi never spoke about end times. They weren't saying game over, game's done, you better pray, hope you make it. Their prophecy was about a choice That means you have a choice. You're not powerless. It's not predetermined. You get to choose what you step into. And so while some people choose to follow deception and hate and destruction, you get to choose sovereignty. You get to choose to be a part of the new earth. You get to choose leadership, power, divine purpose, circle leadership, community. This is not the end of the world. This is the beginning of something entirely new. It's a prophecy. It is not fate. It is a choice. It is something that it's not something that happens to you. It's something that you get to get a choice of what side or what part you're going to play a part in. So either loss, fear, deception, lies, or are you going to choose a new reality that's based on love, community? And so when we talk about the 3D, 5D shift, what is actually happening right now? You feel it. The energy is different. Time doesn't feel the same. Manifestation is happening faster. People are waking up in waves. Some fast, some slow, some kicking and screaming. It's like one big Mandela effect on steroids. Physically, some people are in the same city, the same country, even the same house, and experiencing different realities. Mentally, people are drawn into chaos or they're freer than ever. Energetically, there is a gap, right? People are manifesting super fast. Other people are stuck in limitation. One group is crumbling, another group is thriving. Why? Because it's two worlds all overlapping. So there's some that are in 3D consciousness, some that are in 5D. 5D can see the 3D and don't understand why they're still there. 3D cannot understand other people. That's like, what's wrong with them? But like I've said in these videos, one is not better than the other. The shift isn't coming. It's already here. It's already happening. You're already it. And you get to choose love every single day. You get to choose expansion every single day. I heard the other day that Elon Musk kept saying to Germany, oh, you need to let go of your guilt. You need to get rid of your guilt. You need to not worry about what happened in your past, because he wants to bring it back, right? And we don't want you with vibrations and vibrational alignment. We don't want you sitting in guilt. That's not true. But what you have to do is heal. You have to heal. Ancestral healing is required. That does not require guilt. That requires acknowledgement and love. That requires, wow, I see what happened in the family line, and I am not repeating that, because I am moving forward in love. I am moving forward knowing that everyone is equal and that we're all divine and we all are powerful. It's acknowledgement and love and healing and allowing yourself to feel what was done and allowing yourself to be like, I am choosing something new. That is what's healing 7 generations backward and 7 generations forward. But just ignoring it, oh, it never happened, that is where people want you to forget and do it again. You might say, okay, is the earth going to split into two? The answer is yes and no. No, you aren't going to wake up one day and see half the population disappear in thin air. That's the rapture. That's not what's happening. Yes, there are two different realities forming at the same time, and there's some overlap. And so will it eventually break off, right? And will it all eventually be a world full of with the darkness and the people focused on it that was kind of discussed in Revelation? Yes. But will there be also love and a focus on expansion, no war, no chaos, all of that? Yes. I don't know when that's happening. It's not happening tomorrow. But for right now, you can choose 5D energy right now. You can choose magic. You can choose synchronicities. You can choose remembering your divinity. Because the way to get out of the 3D is to remember your divinity. Remember you are love. This is the separation. But it's not just, you don't need to be afraid. And one isn't better than the other. It just means that one has more lessons to learn or more things that they get to integrate, more healing that gets to happen. And the other one has done their healing. They have done a lot. They've decided that they're not going to allow triggers to lead them. And they're moving first with love first. This is why joy is being villainized. That's why they're telling you, you be scared, and they're trying to create chaos where you can't even think straight. Ignore. Observe. Do not absorb it in. Observe. So, while people are doubling down on division, hate, and war, clinging to outdated systems, obsessing with forced power and restrictions on others' rights, afraid of losing their world and afraid they're in scarcity. You can see it everywhere. The government, they're grasping for control. Religious extremists trying to control everything, right? You have got the Taliban telling women not to talk to each other. It's illegal now, right? Why? Because the reality is shifting and changing, and they know that the train has left the station and they can't stop it. But the only way they could stop it is if you take your eye off the ball and start to participate in the lower density. New Earth is being built in real time. You get to choose to shift from fear to trust. You get to release the need to control everything. You get the choice. Remember path 1 that the Hopi talked about, and then path 2. You get to focus on your highest timeline. The 2 Earths are already here. They're overlapping. I had a client and she's like, one day my husband's so amazing. The next day he's a little tripping. I said, it's still, you're experiencing both sides, right? It's like you got one foot in the 5D and one little bitty pinky toe in the 3D, and you're seeing a little bit of both. Now, let me tell you, I talked about the Christian nationalists and this doctrination. I don't want to go too deep in it because the frequency is so low. It's so low. But basically, they're trying to bring about the end times, cutting down all the trees, creating global chaos, making everything fear, war, destruction, authoritarian rule. They're doing everything because they're trying to trigger the Messiah come back, because the Messiah is only coming back, according to them, to save the white, like European white race. And everyone else is not a part of that. We're barely people with souls, basically. We don't have a soul, according to them. If you look at don't read it. It's just, it was created in the 70s, I think, or something like that. You can get into the details, but it's so low frequency, you don't even want to spend your time looking at that. It's why they're obsessed with the Middle East and Israel. It's why they're pushing for war, economic collapse. It's why they're trying to have authoritarian rule, because they win, they get beamed up or called home. That's what they think. But they forget God is not a God of hate. It's not a God of separation. And God is not coming to snatch them and leave everyone else. Jesus, Christ consciousness, this higher frequency came back through you, the Lightworkers, the Ascension anchors. And as a light leader, it is your role to, 1, don't get caught up in the fear. It is literally the last attempt to control your reality. The veil is down. You can choose to see through the illusion. My sister and I laugh. We're like, oh my God, look at that. Like, I'm not affected. I laugh now when I see things. I'm like, oh wow, look at what they're trying to do. I watch entertainment. I'm like, ooh, they're trying to make us hate money. I can just see through the veil. It's so clear. You can too. Number 2, keep your frequency high. The more you anchor in love, your serenity, the fact that you're divinity, the easier you shift timelines, the easier you collapse the timelines. Number 3, shift your energy into creation energy. The more you focus on what's possible, the faster you align with the higher frequencies. Oh my God. Number 4, stop trying to convince people. Some people aren't ready. They're meant to stay in the 5D. Like, you're wasting your breath. Stop trying to convince people and talk to the people that are ready to hear what you got to say. You don't need to change people to make yourself feel better. And that's usually what this group is doing, trying to change people to make themselves feel better. So stop trying to convince. Your job is to shine so brightly that when they're ready, they come to find you. Number 5, keep expanding. Quantum leaps happen when you lean into the stretch, when you lean into the unknown and unexpected, when you push your own boundaries, when you stay in the energy of growth, learning, and embodiment. That is when you're leaping. Number 6, step into your own power. Your work, your energy, and your presence is what is needed right now. Nothing else. Focus on that. Your business, your voice, your content, this is how you're going to guide the shift. And if you have the urge to speak up, speak louder, step up bigger, drop all the things that feel out of alignment, do it. It's not random. This is your mission. This is your calling. This is why you're on the earth. You are the leaders. You are the rainbow leaders. You are the light workers. It is not, it is totally not lost on me that they called the hobby called it rainbow leaders for many reasons. It's a diverse group of people of all nations, colors, everything. It's also a group of different genders. Male, female, non-binary. It's a group of, it's just a rainbow, a pure light, beautiful rainbow of people. This is why they want to destroy anything that doesn't look or act a certain way and that isn't a low frequency. You are ready to make this shift. This isn't about survival. This is about creation. The world is not ending. It is evolving. And you are here to lead this evolution. Get ready because, baby, you are moving into the 5D. And so listen to this over and over and over again. It's a powerful, powerful episode. Hugs, kisses, all of the feels. Stay bougie, be healed, and keep it divine, diva.